Hi, students. When I was marking APC 65, I wrote down some notes to you about L'Hopital's rule, but didn't actually take points off, and I probably should have because the AP will. So I just wanted to be really clear about L'Hopital's rule and the notation that we should be using. So here we're given some information about a particle moving along the y-axis with this equation. A second particle moves along the x-axis with this equation for all times t not equal to. But now they've told us time is approaching 2. What is the limit of particle q? So I'm going to find the limit as t goes to 2 of sine pi t over 2 minus t. And I know that when I plug in 2, sine of 2 pi is 0, 2 minus 2 is 0. You might be tempted to write equals 0 over 0, therefore L'Hopital's. The problem is this equal sign. This is an indeterminate form. It's not an actual number. So writing down that equal sign is mathematically invalid. Instead, to use L'Hopital's rule, what we want to show is that separately, the limit of our numerator, so sine of pi t, is 0, and the limit of the denominator, so two separate limits, 2 minus t is also 0. Therefore, I'm going to use L'Hopital's rule. And remember, I can either spell it this way, or I can do it the French way and spell it that way. Doesn't matter. What really matters is that I've shown two separate limits, both going to 0 of my numerator and denominator. Now I can do my L'Hopital. Limit as t goes to 2 of the derivatives. So this is going to be chain rule. Derivative of my inside will be pi. Derivative of the outside, cosine pi t, all over 0 minus 1, so negative 1. Applying my limit, cosine of 2 pi is 1, so I get pi times 1 over negative 1, which is negative pi. And there's my final limit. I don't need to go back and rewrite this original limit. I can leave it just like this. And in fact, if we look at the scoring guidelines, we notice that the first point requires showing an indeterminate form. 0 over 0 is present to apply L'Hopital. But if you don't write limit notation or you write equals 0 over 0, you don't get the second point. Second point doesn't require the simplified answer. We could have left it as cosine. So you could have left it as pi cosine of 2 pi over negative 1. That would have been a fine, correct answer. And yeah, I hope that helps to explain the correct notation for L'Hopital's rule and also what you should be writing and what you don't need to be writing.